Hello, Olivia.
Hey, John.
Hi, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good, Olivia. I'm going to make you a panelist here. All right,
Okay,
you
great.
should be able to mute and unmute yourself
Awesome.
as it goes through.
Thank you.
Hi, Rachel. How are you? Rachel Lake?
Good. Am I off mute? I think so.
Yes, I'm going to put yes. Hi, are you things going well?
Yeah, everything's going great. Lots of snow on the Greenway. Things looking beautiful. Lots of
Yeah,
snowmen, lots of snow
yeah,
angels.
yeah. I saw a few of them being built. I just wanted to ask you, make sure that everything was going well over there and that you all didn't need any help with anything.
No, I think we're all set. But thank you, John, as always.
And you're welcome. All right, I'm going to put you back on mute for now through the presentation. Hello, Jessica. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. I saw that you made yourself. I'm gonna make you a panelist right here. Give me 1 second. All right, you should be a panelist now. So you should also be able to mute and unmute yourself as well. At will.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. Hello,
Hi, John.
Fernando.
Good. How you doing?
Good, good. So glad to see that you got on here. Just made you a panelist there, and
Great. Thanks.
Olivia as well.
Hi, John. This is Olivia
Hi,
Doobie.
hi, Olivia. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. All right.
Uh,
That means we have just still one, two. I think more people from your team, Fernando, are still missing, and that's it.
all right. Yeah, I know everyone was trying to get on right now.
Yeah.
Uh, just manage, let's see. There it is. All right.
There you
Great.
go.
How'd you deal with did you have to go to the office today or you get to stay home or?
No, I'm currently actually in City Hall now. The only reason why I don't have my mask, I'm the only person that's in the office right now. Otherwise we would have them on. But we didn't have to. We could have worked remotely. I live just about 10 minutes walking from down the road, and I was like, it's a lot easier than trying to VPN in and do all that fun stuff from
Yeah,
there.
you kind of do all your stuff at work and not have to worry. Yeah, no, I hear you on all that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's nice. It's a nice way to keep separated here. I just keep
Yeah,
as people come in, I'm trying to make sure I keep a lookout for your team. I don't want to make anyone wait.
yeah. So Jessica Landris is Olivia Doobie,
Mhm.
Olivia P.
Yep.
Uh,
They're already all panelists
they're
here.
all on.
Yeah.
Let's see it.
Still waiting, I think, for Mike Allen, Tyrone, and Rico.
Yeah, I know Rico was having issues, but he just was trying to hop back on, so he should be on shortly.
Awesome. If any of them end up having to call in instead, I won't see their name. I'll just see like a call in user. So just to let me know, and that way we can go through the call in users.
Okay.
Yeah.
I believe Rico's going to be calling in, so hopefully he'll announce himself.
He won't be able to. Everyone's muted
Oh,
upon
gotcha.
entry. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, yeah.
so sorry.
No,
All
no,
right.
no, no, not at all. That's just it's helpful to know because that way we can I can once I see that we'll go through the
Yep.
call-in users as they come in.
Okay. I think it's going to be a 213 area code.
All right, let me see here.
It's too late. No, I'm fine.
I think Ty Gomes is. Ty Gomes, are you Tyron Gomes?
Yes.
Yeah, yes.
Perfect.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Perfect. Just made them a panelist. So, and then Fernando, what we'll do is we'll try again to do I have your slides loaded on my computer just in case, but we'll try again to let you be a presenter and then try doing the screen share once I do my part over here. And if it
Okay.
doesn't work, then I'll just, again, we'll go through the slides like we talked about.
All right, great. Let's see, Jessica. 3 people. Okay. Let's see. How do you make this bigger?
All right, I see Mike Allen has joined. Mike, I just made you a panelist.
Oh, thank you, John.
You're welcome.
So Rico's having difficulties, so he's probably gonna be late, so we can start whenever. We don't have to wait on him. So he just wanted me to let you know that.
No, thank you. I appreciate it. We're gonna start right at 6 o'clock.
Perfect.
Yep, right when right when we announce when it will start. I'll go through a little bit of my stuff from here, but your presentation, the presentation will probably start at around 6:05 ish, depending upon when I finish with my stuff here. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. No, thank you. I appreciate the heads up.
Well, I actually see him on right now, so never mind.
Oh, awesome. Let me see here.
Yeah,
All right, Rico, we can hear you now, and you're a panelist. You should be able to unmute yourself at will.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Right, Fernando, that's everyone from your team, correct? Just want to make sure.
I believe so.
Yes.
Yeah,
Very good. I just wanted to double check.
thanks.
No problem. All right, everyone. So my name is John Romano from the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. I want to start off by telling everyone that this meeting is being recorded, and that everyone that upon entry is muted. What I'm going to do is this is the public meeting for 21 Broad Street. I'm going to let the applicant in a little bit talk about their proposal for the area and what they would like to see come to this place. What I'm going to start off again and mention with everyone again is that I am your neighborhood services liaison for Mayor Walsh. My email address is Romano, ROMANO, at boston.gov. I will also put it in the chat at the end as well as reiterate it at the end too. But what we're going to do here is I'm going to spend the first just few minutes here going through this public meeting, talking about, WebEx itself and then the decorum and the way we're going to run this meeting. So I want to talk about just some helpful tips right at the beginning and notes when attending the WebEx event that we're here today. When you join as an attendee, your microphone will be muted automatically and you will not have the ability to turn on your camera. The menu at the bottom of your screen will have different icons for microphone. This is the grayed out one, participants, question answer, more, and leave event. I am going to ask you that as you have questions to leave them in the chat feature. So you should be able to see if you click on those three buttons, the ability to click a chat for a chat box to be there. So that I can best, if you want to ask questions, type questions out that way, I can best see them there. If you can't hear, please check to make sure that you have your speaker settings correct and that you're able to actually connect to a speaker through your computer. To give testimony, what I'm going to ask you to do is to raise your hand or comment in the chat. I will unmute you. To raise your hand, open the participant information panel, which is that little person with 3 bars to the bottom right of them. Click the hand icon in the lower right-hand corner, and that will set you to raise your hand. I will ask that you please do that again once your question has been asked and that you have gotten your answer, so that way you put your hand down. If you are connected by telephone, press *3 to raise your hand. That you will hear 2 beeps when you are taken off mute by myself. It will not automatically take you off mute. I will have to take you off mute, so it might take a few minutes as we might have people in front of you in the questioning line. And then it is your turn to speak. Once your testimony is done, hit the raised hand again to unclick the icon. So again, pressing *3 at the end to make sure you put your hand down if you are joining us by telephone. Now we're going to go into a little bit about the actual way that we're going to run this meeting tonight. So this is WebEx. This is what Office of Neighborhood Services has been using through the COVID-19 pandemic to be able to host abutters meetings as well as public meetings. Your camera is off and you are automatically muted. The agenda, so we're going to overview the decorum, which is on the right-hand side of my screen here, and I'll go over in just a second. We're going to have a brief introduction and presentation of the proposal, and we'll have public comments by asking questions or comments from people that have attended tonight. You are still able to submit any of your written comments until the ZBA hearing date, as well as the Cannabis Board hearing date, to john.romano@boston.gov, as well as to the Cannabis Board directly. Again, I will go over some of these to myself. I will go over some of these myself again at the end and put some of this information in the chat box at the end once I have finished speaking. So the decorum and guidelines for participation. We ask that you engage respectfully at all times, and disruptive behavior will not be permissible. The applicant will present their proposal, and then we will devote the remainder of the time to feedback. So they will fully go through their presentation, and then we will devote our time to feedback. When it is your turn to speak, you will be unmuted individually by myself, and feedback may be limited to 2 minutes per person at the discretion of myself to allow as many people as possible to share their thoughts. You can always submit additional written comments to john.romano@boston.gov. That's JOHN.ROMANO@boston.gov. All right. So what I'm going to do from here is I'm going to end up stop sharing this. Give me 1 second here. And then Fernando, I am going to make you have the slides, correct?
I do.
All right, I'm going to make you be presenter, so you can actually go through and present from here.
Can you see that? That just popped up?
No, we do not see that. You might have to click the share button. Did you click share content?
All right. Yeah. So share.
Perfect. Hold on 1 second, it's starting up. But yes, now we can see your slideshow.
Okay, great. So just to start off, I just wanted to welcome everyone here. My wife Hillary and I really appreciate the ability to speak in front of everyone. I know with COVID, it has been a very rough 9 months for everyone. So we wanted to just thank everyone for being here for one, and letting us give you the opportunity to present to you what we think is a great idea to help bring jobs and foot traffic and business just back to downtown. We think with what we've got, we anticipate being able to help a lot. So thanks again for being here. Some of you have heard my speech on Tuesday, and a lot of you have heard it in person over the last 9 months of me being down there. So without further ado, I'll get started. So our vision with Roster Roots as a company is to have a global recognized dispensary in downtown Boston area. We find that we would be able to thrive, especially on the East Coast, and just be able to bring cannabis consumers from all over the world to downtown. With the amount of foot traffic that we anticipate being able to bring, we would be able to bring businesses back to where they were pre-COVID. We strongly believe that the 9 months that COVID has pretty much messed with everyone's business and personal life, we can help bring back in 2 to 3 months with the amount of foot traffic that we anticipate. So we really think we have something here. We want to help, and hopefully everyone will see that we're trying to help. And at the end of this presentation, our vision will be something that you want in your community, and you'll fully support us with that moving forward. So just a little bit about us. Like I said, my name is Fernando Bent-Mullings. That is our son, Clark, in the middle. That was last year. He's a little crazier now. He's 3. That's my wife, Hillary, on the right, and that's myself on the left. I born and raised here. Was born at Boston Children's Hospital, so I was born right down the street from there. We currently live in Belmont, but I've grown up in Massachusetts. Went to middle school here. Grew up in Taunton, Mass, and then found myself back here where we now live in Belmont. With what you get with us as business owners, we are 100% owners of Roster Roots. So there's no person controlling us from the outside, from another state, from a big company telling us what we need to do or what we should do. We are the true definition of a mom and pop shop. It's me and her. So we're just trying to fulfill our dream and hopefully have it downtown at that 21 Broad Street, where we love the location, we love the building, and from the neighbors that I've met and spoken with over these last 9 months, that's where we would want to be. It feels like home down there. A little bit more about me. I have been a personal trainer for the last 14 years in the state of Massachusetts. I've also worked at MCI Framingham as a correctional officer, and I worked for a company called Aftermath Inc., helping families with tragedies of loved ones in their homes. Like I said, we are new entrepreneurs into the cannabis business. When I had this crazy idea 4 years ago of trying to get into cannabis, we laughed about it for about a month, then we talked about it, and then we kind of bunkered down and got serious about it about 2 years ago. So this is what all of our time is spent on, and hopefully you'll see that. So this is just a slide of our team. The reason why I have them up is I just want to, they are on the panel, so questions later can be asked directly to them if I don't know the answer to it, because I don't know the answer to everything. And that's why I have them. So Olivia Doobie of Tax and Grit, she is our architect. Through the process of finding someone to put our vision to paper, we interviewed a decent amount of people. We clicked with her right away, and we found that she was able to translate what our vision was to paper really fast and effectively. The other thing we love about Olivia is she's done her research on knowing what other dispensaries have done wrong when it comes to lines outside the door, whether it's security issues. She took all of that into consideration with designing our building, which we find valuable, obviously. Another hit on security, our head of security is Mike Allen. Mike was a chief of police in New Hampshire for 5 years. He's got 20 years of law enforcement. He was a security specialist for the Air Force. So when it comes to security, Mike knows what he's talking about, maybe even more so with what we're trying to do, because he's been with cannabis businesses working in the state of Massachusetts now for the last 4 years. Mike and Olivia were able to design our building with security first, whether it's security inside with protection of customers and staff, to protection of people walking in the streets outside of our building and other neighboring companies or businesses, and even down to being able to control lines. That has all been taken into consideration. That was our main objective from the jump, was making sure that security was not going to be something that we thought about last, but actually something we thought about first. So the two of them being able to work together, we feel came up with a great plan, and I'm excited to show you guys. And last but definitely not least is Greenlight Business Solution. They are a cannabis business consultant firm. We've been with them now for 18 months. They help us with knowing what we need to do when it comes to anything with a cannabis control board, who they worked hand in hand with. Greenlight has over 10 years of experience and ongoing in the cannabis industry. So we find our team to be very strong, and everyone is an expert at what they do, and they bring a lot to the table. So our mission at the end of the day is to bring a business back to downtown that will help all the individuals that own or run or work in that area get back on their feet. With what COVID has done in the last 9 months, it's sad. I don't have to tell you guys this. You all work down there, or you own businesses down there, or you spend a decent amount of time down there, and it looks like a ghost town compared to what it should look like. That area has always been a busy area where there's tons of foot traffic, and right now it's just not how it should be. So what our mission is to bring jobs back to the community, not just with our building. That will be 3 floors of dispensary open to the public, where we have 3 floors. So we have 3 floors of bud tenders because we anticipate being that busy. We anticipate needing to have 15 bud tenders on staff to deal with the foot traffic that will be coming in and out of our building. And that foot traffic will be in our community. And if you look at the amount of people that we plan on being able to come to see us, the way our culture is with Rasta Roots is we want to be considered a part of the community. We're not just in the community, but we're part of it. So people will be encouraged to shop before and after you come see us, whether you need to get a haircut first or get one after, or you want to get coffee. We'll be able to give you direction to any of the businesses around the area that we find valuable, and we strongly want to be part of your community. So here is our building. We are at 21 Broad Street. So we're tucked in behind Espresso Love and 75 State Street. A lot of people, when I first told them where the building was, even people that work down there didn't know where the building was, because we're kind of like tucked in the back, which I like. I think the community would appreciate that. For anyone that is opposed to cannabis, our location is not right off of the street. You have to be looking for us to find us. I fell in love with that building January 1st this year when I first saw it. Just that red brick that screams Boston, from the walkway up to the door to the brick on the wall, the exposed beams that are inside. The building's over 100 years old, so it doesn't come much more Boston than that. And we don't plan on doing anything to the integrity of the outside. I love the way it looks. I don't see needing to do anything to the outside. So that is our building. Also on the screen, you see our hours. So we're projecting being open Sunday to Saturday from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Those weren't hours that we just made up. Those were hours that were sanctioned by the city and okayed by the city of Boston. We think it'd be very beneficial to the entire community, especially for people that might be opposed to us being open at 10 a.m. on a Sunday or a Saturday, maybe not realize that there's brunch across the street at 10 a.m. on both of those days. So we think those hours would work great with the community, and that's where we got those hours from. So this slide is just to show that we are properly zoned correctly. We are at least 500 feet from all parks, churches, libraries, and schools. So there are no zoning issues with our building. And so this is the fun part for me. I get to show you all what we have envisioned to do on the inside, what we've been working on for the last 7 months on the inside. The picture on the left is how it is as of right now. The picture on the right is how we plan on it being when we're ready to open. Like I said, I love the building. I don't plan on doing anything to the outside of the building besides taking that old market sign down. We'll probably save it because it's been up for so long. And putting a little sign above the door that just indicates who we are. We're not planning on having any flashing lights, any the ugly neon lights that tend to draw attention. We're not planning on doing anything like that, especially to the outside. Just a very subtle sign above our door, and the rest of the building looking the same. So here is the picture on the left is our basement. Down there will just be offices and where our utilities will be stored. The picture on the right, for those of you that are calling in and you can't see what I'm talking about, I'll try to be as descriptive as possible. So the way that it works is when you first come up to our door, you'd be greeted by a security guard. They would verify your ID before you enter. You would enter our waiting vestibule. Once you're in there, you would also have to go to a checkout window. At that checkout window, first they would verify your ID for the second time, and then that person would check with you to see if you're there to pick up something that you placed a online order, if you knew what you wanted already, or if you had questions and you needed some help. So once a bud tender was ready to see you for whatever need that you have, that door would open, and then you would actually be inside the dispensary. So the waiting vestibule, you're not technically inside the dispensary. if there was ever an issue with security or anything like that, we'd be able to send them out that way as well. So once inside a dispensary, the first floor, we do plan on having 3 bud tenders down there. So I know that our building is 3 floors, but before I describe the second and third floor, I just want to make sure that it's clear that anything that you can do on floor 2 or floor 3, you can also do on floor 1. That's another reason why we only have 3 bud tenders down there versus having 5, making sure that there's space for if someone can't walk or is in a wheelchair. Handicap accessibility is obviously something that we paid attention to, and we wanted to make sure that everyone would get the same experience coming to Roster Roots. On the first floor, like I said, there'll be 3 bud tenders, 3 bud tender line. There's a little waiting nook over on the left where there'll be chairs or seats, maybe a TV display of what we have where people can look at our menu. There'll be a bathroom down there and a meeting area. So if I ever had a meeting with anyone from the community, we would probably meet in there, if not at one of the cafes next door or something. So now up to the second and third floor. The picture on the left is the second floor. So these 2 pictures do look very similar, but there are some subtleties. So the second floor would be more so for people looking for that. They might know what they want already, or they place the order online. We'd send them up there. It'd be a pretty quick in and out. There's a waiting area up there as well. The third floor, the picture on the right, the difference is we'll have 4 bud tenders up there, but the idea for the third floor is to be more so for people that don't know what they're looking for, or might have a back problem or anxiety or something like that, or they're new to cannabis and they just want some kind of direction. We would send them up there where it would be a little slower pace. It'd probably be in the store a little longer than typical, just because we want to make sure that anybody that's coming in is leaving with what they came to look for, and we want to make sure that it's right for them. So that's what the 2 subtleties are on the 2 floors. And then our 4th floor is a picture on the left that will be off limits to the public, it'll just be for staff. And the picture on the right is our roof. So the way we plan on positively impacting the community, these are just 3 of the ways that we've thought of. We spend a lot of time on everything, but especially when it comes to what will Roster Roots bring to the community. We're very community driven, we're family driven, so we want to make sure that that crosses over into anything that we do, especially a business. So when it comes to local businesses, the amount of foot traffic, like I said, that we expect to be in the area will do nothing but bring foot traffic into other businesses. With having 3 floors, that's a lot of people coming. That area would be busy again. People would bring jobs back to the area. Restaurants that are at 40% staff would be able to hire their old staff people back, or people that have lived in the area or worked in the area and want to get back down there will have that opportunity, whether it's with us, because we'd probably have at least 30 employees, or any other of the restaurants or stores or businesses in that area. So we anticipate a ton of foot traffic being able to come through that would spend money at other places, not just at Roster Roots. When it comes to our employment, like I said, we'd probably have 30 people on our staff. We fully anticipate on hiring women, people of color, veterans, disabled people, just people that maybe haven't had the opportunity to have a higher ranking job. We fully anticipate and plan on hiring people of those things I just spoke about to have higher paying jobs, not just entry level jobs. With Second Chance, we plan on hiring people that have been convicted of past cannabis convictions. We know there was a war on marijuana for a very long time. Luckily, right now, the country seems to be turning around and getting rid of all these laws and these rules that they've had against marijuana, and seeing the benefits of it instead. So we do plan on doing that as well. What we plan on with that, besides being able to hire those people that have had a hard time getting jobs because they're afraid to write something like that on an application, but we plan on working with them once they are part of our staff with things like financing and trying to finance a car, or if they want to buy a dream house. These are all things that we want to build from our employees, for our employees through Roster Roots. So some of the concerns that we've spent a lot of time on, these are four of the ones that we spend the most probably time on. Obviously security, access to minors, being a nuisance to the community, and prevention of diversion. I'll get into all of these in the following slides. So when it comes to our safety and diversion plan, like I said, with the illustration of our building, there will be 3 points of identification check verification. So our IDs will be checked outside before even stepping foot into the building. IDs will be checked at that check-in booth where you tell the person what you're there for. And then for the third time, your ID will be checked at point of sale. So everyone will go through every time of having their ID checked 3 times. That's not something that we anticipate having an issue with. We're not ignorant to the fact that kids underage are going to try to get in. What our approach towards that is going to be, though, is instead of calling the police on them, would be to give them information, some educational information on why it's not safe for them at their age, and send them on their way that way. Some additional security measures that we've taken into consideration. Our camera feed will maintain 90-day of footage. Mike Allen, who will be on later, will be able to discuss it more at length, but our security has always been number one for us going forward, whether it comes to the design of the inside or the flow or however we plan on running our business. The first 30 days that we will be open, we will have a police detail. If after that 30 days we've decided that we don't need police detail, then we'll get rid of it. If we do, then we'll continue it. I think with having a police detail, it gives us the ability to work with the police hand in hand, besides having constant contact with them in the community, of them knowing what we're doing. By having them there for the first 30 days, they can see how we run. They can make suggestions to us that we'd obviously take into strong consideration, and we can go on from there. We also plan on having a panic button that's easy accessible to get a hold of the police if for some reason it's after that 30 days or we don't have police detail. So we are very security driven, and we want to make sure that that comes across. When it comes to no nuisance policy, as far as traffic, we understand that area is a walking area. That's not somewhere where you plan on parking quickly and hopping out to get a coffee. People that come down there are either working there all day or commuting down to go to a restaurant or something like that, and they're taking the T or they're taking the bus. There's 2 T stops down there for you, those of you that don't know. There's one at the aquarium on the blue line, and then there's one on the red line, the downtown crossing T stop, that is at max 7 minutes of a walk. So we're really close to that. For the people that we anticipate coming in that won't be able to take the T, say someone from Western Mass is coming in and they want to spend the weekend in downtown Boston, they want to come see us. I have been in talks with 75 State Street. They have 600 parking spots. We don't ever plan on being that busy. If for some reason they are unable to accommodate our customers, there are 4 other parking lots of similar size in the area within like a 5-minute walk. So there's over 1,000 public parking spots in garages in the area. So we're not concerned with that. Another type of traffic would be traffic going in and out of the store. So we have paid close attention to making sure our customers coming in and out of the store, we're not having lines up the door. So we have taken all of that in consideration, and we have plans to deal with that, whether it's sending someone across the street to get a cup of coffee, or suggesting people make an appointment before coming down, where we're fully aware and we're paying attention to traffic of worrying about people soliciting outside. So that's not something we anticipate because we have addressed it, and Mike will be able to get into more details about that. When it comes to noise, we will be we will follow all rules and regulations issued by the city. At the same time, I plan on being part of the community, and if the city says we're allowed to be at X, but the community has a problem with us being at L, we'll be at L. That's not something that we anticipate having an issue with, where we want to have a very well run business there, but we want to be a great neighbor at the same time too. So there won't be any loud noise, and like I said, no, we won't have those neon lights or anything like that beaming off the building. So with that all said, at the end of the day, the reason I've spent so much time going down there, whether it's by myself or dragging my wife and my 3-year-old, at the end of the day, we're here asking you for your approval of us as entrepreneurs, as people that are just trying to get into your neighborhood. If we didn't have to do something like this, we probably would anyways. We want to be a part of the community. We don't want to just have a business in your community. We want to be part of the monthly calls or Zoom meetings. Hopefully it won't be like that in the next year, but we fully want to dive into being part of that community, and we want to help. We think we can help. We think we can help maybe more drastically than anybody else. I've seen the struggles. I've talked to everyone down there. The people on here, I've been in your business. I've seen what you're going through. You've told me what you've gone through. I've texted with a lot of you, and I've heard all of your stories, and it's sad to hear, and I really want to be able to help, and we hope that you guys just give us that opportunity. This is our dream, is to have this business, and it's to have this business there is just a cherry on top. We love the community, and we want to be part of it more than we are now. And with that said, thank you again for being here, and that is the end of our presentation. So, John, I'll pass that on to you.
Awesome. Thank you, Fernando. All right,
You're
so the way I'll be running this part of the meeting is, again, we are here until 7 p.m. At 6:55 p.m. I will be interrupting wherever we are. I will let someone finish their sentence, but I will be interrupting again just to make sure we're able to state contact information and pieces from there. Now we go back to the raise the hand feature. If I don't see anyone raised hands, I will just check on a few different spots here. If I see anything else that might indicate that someone has a question, I'm going to do that as well. Again, just to revisit on how to raise your hand. To raise your hand, you must click on the person icon, the participant information panel. That's the person with the 3 bars at the bottom. And then you can click the hand icon in the lower right-hand corner. That will then allow you to be able to raise your hand. So please make sure that you do so that way. All right, the first person I see, Kylie, you're unmuted. Do you have a question?
Yeah, I guess what I'm concerned about is how are you going to control folks from going into the lobby of 75 State? It sounds like you could have a long queue outside if it becomes as popular as you say. I mean, what's to stop people from congregating and just hanging out in the lobby of 75 State while they wait their turn to go into your store?
That's a great question, Mike. If you want to answer that, I'll hand that over to our security advisor, Mike Allen.
Sure. Thanks, Fernando. Just a quick introduction of myself. I know Fernando gave a little background on me, but I'm Mike Allen. I'm the chief of security for Roster Roots. As Fernando said, my background is in law enforcement. I spent 30 years as a police officer and 5 years as a police chief before I retired, and have now been working in the cannabis space for about 4 years, and really have been working all across the Commonwealth opening up dispensaries and cultivation facilities, and that's a common question that comes up is line queuing and how do you control an issue like that? Well, we've done a number of different things to really address that issue. The first being our ability to accommodate customers inside the facility, as Fernando mentioned. There are 3 floors that we'll be able to house customers in, along with our entry vestibule. So it'll be a very controlled process in terms of how many people we allow into the facility. And as far as outside the facility, if there were any line queuing that were to occur, we'll have our security staff, we'll have people outside of the facility making sure we don't have any customers that are congregating or hanging out in any of the, whether it be outside or 75 State Street. We want to make every effort we can to try to mitigate that issue. We look at security from the standpoint of predictable is preventable. So we look at that issue as really being a preventable issue, where we're going to work closely on doing the things I said, and also working with the Boston Police Department. We had a meeting a couple of nights ago with the Wharf District Council, and it was very enlightening for me hearing the police department report out on the issues that they have in that particular neighborhood, and some of the crime and quality of life issues that go on. And so those are the types of things that are really important for us to know about and incorporate into our security plans and our plans to make sure that the quality of life doesn't get disrupted for the neighboring businesses or the residents that might live in that area. That's the last thing we want to do. And a couple of other things, where home delivery is on the horizon for Massachusetts. So that's something we certainly want to take advantage of in the future. If we are fortunate enough to get a license and open there, that will certainly reduce the number of customers coming into the facility. We'll also have a technology that's used similar to some restaurants you may see, where they have line queuing technology that you can issue, essentially taking people's information and then sending them a text or an email when we have the capacity to bring them into the facility. So we really want to encourage customers to, like Fernando said, go get a coffee, shop in the area. So we're really very flexible and nimble to that issue in terms of, and we want to take the feedback of the businesses in the community there. So we don't profess to know it all, and we're open to any suggestions you might have in how to control that issue. But those are some of the highlights of how we plan to address that issue.
I mean, I guess just to really just sum it up, is that 75 State is like Class A office building with a lot of corporate companies, very busy with business during the day. That entrance, Broad Street in the market, that's right next to one of 3 main entrances to the building. So just concern with traffic, line queuing, and all that is just a major concern. Just leave it at that.
Understood. Appreciate you bringing that forward. The other thing I wanted to mention, I think is really important, and I failed to mention it initially, was our customers are going to sign what we call a community norms attestation. So first-time customers coming into our facility will sign essentially a contract, if you will, that says they're agreeing as a customer of Roster Roots to not loiter outside our facility, not divert our product, not be a nuisance in the outside the facility, not consume in public, things that are illegal. Essentially, we're planning to put people on notice that those types of things won't be tolerated. So any type of loitering that goes on outside the facility, those customers that we find violating that agreement, they won't be allowed back to our facility. So that's another measure that we're trying to take. We really want to do everything we possibly can to mitigate any type of issue like that from occurring.
All right, thank you all. I do want to address here, we had a couple questions that were written in. There's one that I'm going to address from here. Mark Phillip had put in the question, there's already a shop on State Street. Why do we need another? Mark, there's another proposed shop that's going in. It is a separate candidate that is also looking from here. So neither candidate has gotten approval from the Cannabis Board, but there is a separate shop that is also applying on State Street. From there. So currently neither applicant has gotten the approval, which is why this applicant is here tonight as part of their process, but neither applicant has gotten approval to be on premises yet, or to be approval from the Cannabis Board. Mark also had an additional question. I'll leave this, Fernando, for you and your team. They're concerned about people smoking on Broad Street. What will you do if this occurs, or if it is reported to you?
Yeah, I can take that one.
Yeah. And then just really quickly
Sorry.
before you start, I'm just gonna, just so everyone understands, I am gonna dismiss questions as I read them off. I don't want you to think I'm dismissing them as not reading them, but once we have read them, in order to keep the queue as clear as possible, I will be dismissing them from there.
Yeah, so a couple of quick points on that. I mean, as I mentioned, we're going to have security officers who are in uniform, unarmed, working outside the facility. Well, we're also going to have a very sophisticated video surveillance system that Fernando had mentioned earlier, that will be monitored the outside of the building. Every square inch of the inside of the building will be on video surveillance. And so we'll have every opportunity, if an observation is made where someone is consuming product outside of our facility, where we'll make an immediate notification to the Boston Police Department. And because obviously that's illegal, we'll have signage both inside as people come in the facility and as people leave our facility, indicating that it is illegal to consume product in public. And so again, we're going to do everything we can to make sure that nuisance issues like that, issues that impact the quality of life of the people that shop down there and work down there and live down there, those types of things don't impact anybody.
Thank you, Mike. I'm gonna go now to the next person that has their hand raised. Desiree and Ari, you all should have your mic unmuted.
Yeah, one sec. One sec.
No problem.
Okay.
While you all are getting that right, I'm just gonna answer another question really quickly.
No,
Currently-
we're ready.
Oh, go ahead, sorry.
All right.
No, my question or comment is that we are basically 10 yards away, across from the new site at 21 Broad. We have a high-end men's store. We have very high prices of clothing. We've been in the area for close to 24 years. And it's a very small courtyard. It has an entrance to 15 Broad Street, which is our building, 75 and 21. That area is very narrow with a lot of traffic, not right now, but I'm sure that comes Labor Day, we'll have the same traffic coming and going into 75 and 15 Broad. And we always had the problems that 15 Broad lobby is right inside the courtyard. And we have people stopping and opening our doors, coming in to ask direction how to get to 15 Broad, which is our building. We are a small business. We are 3 or 4 of us there. I prefer to have more tailors than security guards. We don't have security guard, and we cannot handle if you said that kids are there or traffic, a lot of people that we don't recognize. We don't want to have problems in the area. And for sure, we don't want to answer the question for directions, because 21 is a number that nobody can find when you walk on Broad Street. So I would like to know how that traffic is going to be handled, because for sure we cannot hire someone to give direction and a security guard that can protect us from theft. There are problems sometimes, and we don't want to increase it by a lot more. So I'd like to address that.
All right.
You want me to take that, Fernando?
Yeah, Mike, you can answer that, especially speaking of the security and about that.
Yeah, that question kind of goes along with the response I gave to the last gentleman that asked the question about queuing inside 75 State Street in the lobby there. You know, our training is a big component of our security staff. So thank you for bringing that issue to our attention, because those are the things that we want to know about from the community. This is a two-way conversation here. We want to hear the things like that so that we can alert our staff to that issue and make sure that we keenly pay attention to issues like that so they don't occur. I mean, that to me is an easy issue to resolve with the staff that we have working outside of the facility. And I mean, when you look at the security systems and the staff that we're going to be hiring to provide boots on the ground security, I would say we are improving the security and the safety of that entire area versus taking away from it by having a cannabis dispensary in your neighborhood. It's really and again, I say that from experience. I've been opening up these facilities all over the state of Massachusetts. And what we're seeing over the past year is much different than what you saw when these facilities were first opening, when adult use first came online two and a half years ago or so. The normalization, if you will, of an opening of a cannabis dispensary is really an uneventful, what I've seen, again, from the ones I've been involved in. I've been involved in more than 30 of them. It's an uneventful, it's gone from the big lines and the traffic and all the things you saw in the news when the industry first started to now what is considered to be a very uneventful experience, where nothing more than normal retail type customer and vehicular traffic we're seeing at these dispensaries. Now, I understand Boston's a little different because, you know, it's a much more highly populated, dense area. But, you know, I just opened one in Brookline about 3 months ago, and everyone thought that same issue was going to occur, that there were going to be long lines because of what another dispensary in Brookline had experienced, a company called Netta. And they had these long lines. They were seeing thousands of customers a day. And when Sanctuary opened the company called Sanctuary in Brookline, when they opened their facility, there were no lines, absolutely zero line queuing outside of the facility. Everything's queued inside. And so those issues just, I haven't seen them occurring with the normalization of the cannabis market. But we're not naive to think that it wouldn't occur, and we're prepared, and we have contingency plans in place to deal with those things. And like I said, training's a big issue.
Just to kind of add one little thing to everything Mike just said, that's why the first 30 days we are going to have detail. We'll be able, with the police being there, they'll be able to direct if for some weird circumstance comes up that our security isn't directing people to, no, that's not the building's here. And with working with the police those first 30 days or potentially longer, we won't run into that issue. We don't see that being an issue with the plan that Mike has come up with.
Thank you all. There's one other question in the chat I'm going to address before we jump off to the next person. Is when is the ZBA meeting? There is no current zoning board of appeals date that is scheduled. What would end up happening first is that this group would end up going in front of the Cannabis Commission first. and then would have a ZBA date as well. Fernando, correct me if I'm wrong with that, but it is 100% the Cannabis Commission would hear them first, and then the ZBA date would then be scheduled after.
Correct.
Awesome. All right, Amanda Sofrin, I'm unmuting you. You had your hand raised.
I have a question.
Yes.
For 75, we are responsible for maintaining the park with landscaping and then also the exterior cleaning. If this becomes a problem and there's tons of contraband or anything like that on the ground, who's responsible for picking that up?
100% us. When it comes to like having an agreement with the community, I fully intend on taking any kind of responsibility that is of anything that's negative that has been added to the community due to us being there and addressing it right away. For things like maintaining that area, I would love to speak with someone about maybe us potentially doing that, where that's us taking something off of your hands. So that's something that we won't have any issue with taking responsibility for anything that people that are visiting us and potentially doing after or before. But like I said, I would love to speak with whoever from the building is in charge of making sure that that's taken care of, because at the end of the day, like I said, I want to be a good neighbor. And it's like, if you move into someone else's house, you don't just worry about your room, but you worry about the entire house. So that walkway would be considered part of our walkway. And we would want it to be as clean and as tidy as possible. So that would totally not be an issue. And that's coming from me. So it's not like I have to ask somebody else, would it be okay if we did this? Like I said, Hillary, my wife, and I are the owners. If we say we're going to do something, it's going to be done that way. I don't have to ask somebody else, do you think it's okay if we extend our arm this way? I have no problem with that at all.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome. Great question, too.
All right, there are a few more people that have indicated they want to speak as well. Like I said, in 5 minutes, I'm just going to go through a little bit more information. John Kiernan, John, you're unmuted. You had a notice here that you wanted to say something. It's okay if you did not. I can always just take you off as well. All right. Let's see here. Margaret Ings. Margaret, did you have something you would like to, a question, comment, or concern?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
I have been basically listening to the presentation so that the organization that we're a part of, the Midtown Park Plaza Neighborhood Association, we can brief them on what your information was this evening. At this point, I don't have any direct questions, but certainly once we begin to bring this forward to groups and other parts of the neighborhood, downtown neighborhoods, I'm sure you'll probably be hearing more from the organization, and we look forward to seeing more presentations in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. If you didn't see my email, if you have a second to write it down, if you email me tonight or tomorrow, I will make sure to get to you before Monday, and I would love to set something up, whether it's just chat or whatever. But my email is Fern, so FERN at the @ Roster Roots, RASTAROOTZ.com.
Awesome. Thank you, Fernando. And then I'll actually take this second as well to just reiterate my contact information again. It's John, JOHN, Romano, like Ray Romano, ROMANO at boston.gov. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, or have any additional information about the process, I'm happy to answer that or get you connected to Fernando here as well. I'm going to go through and answer. Like we said, we will ask questions and the presentation will last until 7 or until we have run out of questions at that time. Rosemary Board, I don't see the last part of Boardman. Rosemary Boardman. did you have a question? All right. And then my apologies here. Sandy Marrero, did you have a question, comment, or concern?
No.
Okay, no problem. Amanda, did you just not put your hand down, or do you have another question?
Oh, sorry. Nope. I just didn't put my hand down.
Nope, no problem. I'm a double checker. I rather double check than not. All right, and then Kylie, did you have another question?
No.
Okay, fantastic. Put it back on mute. All right, seeing no more questions, no one else that wants to leave a question, comment, concern for tonight, I'm going to end this abutters meeting. I do want to thank
John?
everyone for, yes.
I'm sorry for interrupting you. I just wanted to have an opportunity to say one thing before we close the meeting. That's
No
okay?
problem. Absolutely.
Okay, so hello everyone. My name is Tyrone Gomes and I work with Greenlight Business Solutions. I've been involved in the cannabis industry for the past 10 years. I'm in California. I also am a business owner. I have 3 cannabis licenses. And I just wanted to really encourage you guys to take advantage of how available Fern is, making himself available to you. He's at every step of the way in this process. He's always been about community. That's the ethos that's he wants to create. He wants to create culture, and that me being in this industry for so long, I can tell you it's a rare thing. Nowadays, a lot of companies that are setting up, they're bigger, they're established. Some of them are bigger conglomerates and backed by venture capital money. And what's really nice about a smaller family owned and operated business is they're very approachable. When I started in the industry, I started on the retail side, and it was a similar situation with a woman who owned the whole business. But it was a lot more congested back then during the medical days in LA, and we had a lot of dispensaries in our area. But the owner of Hollyweed, which was the name of the company that I worked for, she was very proactive. She made sure that she built relationships with the neighbors, and she would actually have regular meetings. And you can prepare as best you can. You can build your team out and try to run a very tight ship. But things do come up, and it's very, very important that when things come up as you go along, that you can address those issues. So that's one of the advantages. Somebody mentioned, hey, there's another company that's trying to get in this neighborhood, and that's true. But one of the advantages that you should be considering if you're in this area is what type of business best fits with the culture that you have. Who wants to be a neighbor, a good neighbor, and contribute as much value as possible. So it's up to you to make that decision, to do your due diligence, to look into anyone who wants to be in your neighborhood. And I seriously encourage you to take Fern up on his offer, get to know him, ask those difficult questions while you have some say in the matter, because you do have some say. You can show your support, or you can choose to show your opposition. And I think that if you take him up on his offer to get to know him, you're going to be impressed by what he's looking to do for his family and for that community. So thank you for hearing me out. And again, if you haven't gotten his email address, I encourage you to do that. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Ty. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
All right, y'all. And then with that, I will be ending this meeting from here. I hope everyone gets home safe. If they are not home, I hope everyone is home watching and stays warm on this first real snow day that we've had of winter of 20, and hopefully maybe the last one of 2020 as well. Thank you, Fernando, and your team. And then we will be in touch soon.
Thanks, John. Appreciate it. Thanks again, everyone, for coming on, and I appreciate all the questions. And like Ty said, please reach out to me. I am doing nothing but this. So please reach out to me. I would love to meet with you. Or even if you only want to chat via email, we can do that. We can FaceTime, whatever is comfortable for you, and whatever your schedule is my schedule. I don't have anything drawing me anywhere else. I haven't given that speech to another community. You guys are the community I want to be part of. So hopefully you take me up on that offer, and thanks again for your time.
I will answer. There was one last quick question here: is when is the Cannabis Commission meeting? That has also not been scheduled as of yet either. There will be notice on the Cannabis Commission's website, as well as a public notice that is posted when the meeting is scheduled for the Cannabis Commission. Kylie, if you have additional questions on that, please feel free to email me as well. But other than that, seeing no more questions, everyone have a lovely night.
Thanks, John.
You're welcome.
Done. Good night.